very much to be here for the last session of the MoodleMoot of this year. And if you haven't tried any of these days to connect to the PowerPoint Live, if you haven't experienced it, it's an opportunity to do it right now. It's an easy tool that you can use to create automatic captions directly when you are talking. So it's a good opportunity. I will give you a couple of seconds. Today, my name is Laia Canet. I'm working at Brickfield Education Labs, and today I would like to talk to you about quizzes, because quizzes are quite important. They are one of the most activities used. Sorry, let's go. In Moodle, and even other activities that are very, very, very popular are resources, publishing resources and PDFs. And in both areas, accessibility is an important issue, okay? Quizzes are a really important tool because they are good, we have been talking in this session and different sessions. It's good for formative and summative assessments, okay? We can create learning activities, but more engaging. Quizzes are not only for ABC questions, more memoristic-based questions. We can use it in other ways, okay? In more interesting, we can create simple scenarios, cases, more hands-on activities, or related to the real practice, okay? So if you are using quizzes, think about how could you improve the learning experience for your students. Depending on the design of the quiz, we can promote more or less student autonomy, okay? Maybe students can decide how many times they can attempt a quiz, okay? So if they need to work more on something or not. If we provide feedback, they could decide if they want to work on the feedback or not. I always say that quizzes can become a kind of an extension of the teacher if we work properly with them, okay? Feedback is very powerful. It just needs some care, some love, and some time, okay? But it's also an investment. If we create the situation where students get all the information and we help them to improve, it's also us if we were there, okay? Why should we create accessible quizzes? First of all, we want all our students to learn, not only those that meet our ideal requirement of a student, okay? And we don't know how everyone is, what their needs are. So the idea is that we should try to avoid as much barriers as possible, okay? Technology is a great tool that we can use to break with these barriers, but if we don't use it properly, we are creating these barriers, okay? So there are different disabilities, different conditions, and some of them are not perceivable at all. They are not so evident. So it's a good idea to try to do things that work for everyone, okay? Technology can have an impact on learning, so let's use it well to create a positive impact, okay? We are talking about digital literacy also for teachers. Using technology well, it's important. Creating accessible content is part of this digital literacy, or at least should be, okay? So let's design our courses with a minimum number of barriers possible, okay? How can we do it? First of all, creating an accessible quiz means that anyone should be able to do the quiz in equivalent conditions. It means that maybe someone will need a little bit more time, or maybe different options, okay? And as Michelle Moore said, I think it was yesterday or the day before, accessibility should not be considered in a different stage from all the process when creating content, okay? It should be part of the process. And if we include it from the beginning, we are avoiding lots of barriers. We are thinking in a more global way, and we can have a better impact and less work. This is important too, okay? So, from my point of view, when creating accessible quizzes, there are two important moments, okay? The first is when we are designing the quiz, when we are thinking, okay, what is what I want to get from my students? What is the aim of this? Depending on our decisions, always a decision process, okay? Depending on these decisions, we can promote more or less the student autonomy. Also, we can provide more or less feedback, more or less accurate, okay? Feedback, think of feedback about an extension. You can provide why this answer is good or not, how to improve this mistake, how to, or help to reflect on this option for the student, okay? And also we can engage participants in more real activities or settings so that it's easier to apply in real life, okay? So quizzes should not be only theoretical, but they could be also applied. When we create the questions themselves in this process, we should also follow some main content design recommendations. But the key here is creating the accessible quizzes from design. If we do those from the starting point, it will probably be more accessible, and it will be less work than having to fix it later. Some decisions when creating in the design process, we can ask ourselves some questions. For example, what's the purpose of my quiz? Is it summative assessment, formative? If it's summative, think about providing a practice quiz, because maybe someone is not familiar with it. And so in this case, we can help to reduce anxiety, okay, for example. If we think about the types of content that we will use or that we want them to learn, what resources do we need, image, video, depending on these elements, we will also need some extra features. If we are using videos, it's a great tool. We can create a quiz around a video, but we will need captions, okay, for example. The number of attempts, it has also an impact. We'll be able to do, how many times will they able to do the quiz? Or even how much time they will be available to have to answer the quiz, okay? What kind of feedback they will receive, or even which kind of question times will I need. So these are some of the key questions that probably you will ask when you're creating a quiz, but that have a direct impact, okay? For example, when creating a quiz, we have the timing options. Is this time limit necessary? Sometimes yes, but think about it. It can create this anxiety, and maybe some students just need more time. Maybe the first language is not English or your language that you are talking. Maybe they need some extra time. Okay, so it's easy now with if we are using Moodle quizzes. We have this overrides option inside the quiz from the More tab, and then we can go to the user overrides. Okay, we can override when the quiz opens and closes, also the time limit and the attempts. We can do it user by user, student by student. So if we know that we have a specific student that will need some extra time or attempts, we can do it. But we can do it also in group. Okay, we can use the group. When deciding the question types, this is also important. We should make sure that all the questions can be navigated through the keyboard, okay? Because not everyone is able to use the mouse. Maybe you are in another place and you are not, and you don't have it, okay? Mainly, all the questions, the question types are accessible, but those that are drag and drop are the most problematic, okay? Especially those related with images. Those with, for example, the drag and drop into markers or the drag and drop into an image, okay? For someone who is blind and cannot see it, it will be really difficult to do this, even if we provide a description. So I encourage you to, if you have a quiz made by yourself, to try to navigate it through using only the keyword, okay? To see the experience that someone can need when creating the content. When creating the questions, it's important, first of all, to create good instructions. I know that it's very basic, but have a look at your quizzes or at different quizzes. How many quizzes are not so clear what is expected, what they have to do? Questions should be clear, also the answers and the different options, okay? And when we have multiple answers, make sure that the information is clear. So maybe we have when there are these multiple answers, show the standard instructions. For example, select one or select one or more. This information, for some users, it's really important, okay? Check at the time constraints if they are needed. Images, if we need images, remember, we need alt text. Alt text, we always need, we should provide, when we have something non-textual, we should provide a textual version, okay? So if we are giving an image, we need the textual description of this image. In this description, try to do it as good as possible, but don't give the answer. Okay, because sometimes we just no. But if we are adding images and we add a short description, sometimes it could happen that we add directly the answer. Okay, when using scientific notation, if you have to maths equations, use the editor on the ATO or the Tiny equation editor. Okay, don't add images. If you add an image, you should add the alt text. So it's more difficult to deal with it. If you use the equation editor, it will be easier for a screen reader user to read and access to this information. When using videos, use captions. And don't rely only on automatic captions. Just, for example, YouTube or any other services, they create automatic captions, but they are not perfect. They are not good enough. Do you remember that I told you we need an equivalent option, equivalent version of a non-textual? So this caption should be as good as possible. So you need to check them. And also, this is a tip. If it's yourself that you are talking, just try to describe what you are showing. If you are showing an image, describe this image. So this image is also on the text. So you have the textual version of this image in one place. Okay, so thinking in advance, we can have these small strategies that will help us to get a better result with less effort. Okay, and in general, follow the best practices for content accessibility. Okay, so check the color contrast. It's so simple, but it's so important. If we don't have enough good color contrast, it's difficult. Don't use color alone for meaning. Use the headings, use styles, all these kind of things. We have this accessibility cube. You can go to our stand to get one if you want, with main of these recommendations. But they are really easy things that you can apply right now. You can do it starting today and apply everywhere in your Moodle courses, but also when posting in social media, when creating emails, everywhere, okay? And the last recommendation is test it, okay? Test as much as possible. Try to enter your quiz as a student to see the differences, because sometimes we do it as teachers and we think that everything works well, but for students it works a little bit some different, okay? So, just to finish, if you want to practice, there are some pages in the Mount Orange School sites with quizzes that you can practice to navigate with the keyword, okay? And if you are not aware, you have the tab. With the tab key, you can move forward. You can go to the next element. Shift plus tab brings you backward. The space bar is to select or unselect, and the arrows help it to move, okay? So it's not the same. It's not the same experience, but try it to see how other people have to deal with your activities. And that is the main recommendations. There are lots of things, but as a starting point, if you can just starting improving this, it can be a great change, or at least you are making a better world for all your students. So thank you very much.